Fellas, quick Croc update as we try to earn a Nobel Peace Prize, potentially heading up north to Darwin to see whether we can get the owner of Spectacular Jumping Croc Tours and the owner of the original Jumping Croc Tours together, extend a olive branch, smoke a peace pipe, shake hands. And I think you suggested, Haim, they have to give each other a compliment, which
I just think that would be a nice. I don't know if that happens in official peace negotiations.
No.
I wasn't there at the end of the Korean War when the armistice was signed, and I don't know if they did the compliments. But I just think it would be a nice addition to modern times peace negotiations. To go, well, this just shows how much there is peace. I think you should be able to compliment your former adversary.
Got sent in some audio from someone that surreptitiously recorded a conversation asking one of the guys up at Spectacular. I'm not sure whether he's staff or he's been there or he's ex-staff or anything. We can't use that audio, I've been told by the lawyers, because permission wasn't granted when we've recorded someone, and you cannot air something if you don't have permission.
Yes.
Yes.
Unless we obtained a wiretap permit. Did we do that?
No, we did not.
Yeah, because I don't remember doing it.
So then what I've done is I've transcribed it and got it reenacted, which I've heard other legal crime podcasts do.
Was this on the advice of the lawyers, or now are we just doing things we heard on other podcasts?
More the latter.
I'm willing to sign off on that.
Jack, are you?
Yes. No,
oh, good. Okay.
Double sign off. Double sign off sounds pretty good to me.
I think the illegal, again, more thinking than actually knowing, I think the illegal thing is recording someone.
So they're identifiable.
And also, you just can't record someone's conversation without them knowing.
Right.
It's under the Surveillance Act.
Yep.
But
we are saying that has happened.
But we didn't do that.
Yep. Yeah. No, it's a shame. We agree that it's a shame it happened.
It's such a shame.
So our official stance is that's a shame that happened. So we agree with the law there by the shaking of our head.
Yep.
Since it has happened, be ashamed to waste it.
Be ashamed to waste it. It would be, and that will be our defence.
Yeah, we thought it was a shame to waste it.
It was jury.
Sorry, the way we were brought up was you don't throw a good audio recording in the bin.
Exactly.
It'd be a shame to waste it.
It'd be a shame to waste it. So there's two snippets. It was long. It was a long conversation. There's two snippets that I want because we did put the call out for how deep does this go? What kind of shenanigans happened? Because we hear things got a bit unsavoury. The first one is commenting for something which is like 40 years ago. It's a long time ago. This is when the original was up against, I think we mentioned this before, another mob in a different river entirely.
Yep.
Have a listen. I think Tony, who's the owner of the original, is the person they're talking about here.
Right.
Yeah. So the one that's called the original is not the first.
But the first one is not here anymore?
Well, it's not here anymore because they had a fire that burned down all their premises. And apparently the bloke who runs the original saw it from the other side of the river but decided not to call the fireys because he thought it would take too long to get there. So what's the point?
Oh, wow.
And apparently a few weeks after that, one of his boats had a bunch of bullet holes in it.
So 4 decades have passed.
That's escalated.
That's escalated. But we know up north back then, it was a bit like the Wild West. Obviously, that was back when they first started out these croc tours. Got to stress, long time ago.
Stress received.
Then
No, I'm just G bullet holes is just, ever since the dawn of the gun and the bullet, such an effective way to send a message. I'm not supporting it, I'm not condoning it, but I'm just saying there's just no two ways about it.
You do read that one loud and clear. Brick through the window with a note attached is also another one.
One of the classics.
Again, this is from Spectacular side, and the person who sent us this audio was inquiring about how the bridge between the two of them, how did they get their territory established?
How did it become known as this
North
order?
the bridge is Spectacular, south the bridge is original.
So, going back, decades, some tours from Spectacular would head down towards original and they would come up this way as well. Definitely heard stories of some unsafe driving and close calls between boats. it got a bit out of hand. So it would have either been Parks and Wildlife or the National Maritime Authority who stepped in and said, if you two aren't going to sort your shit out, then you're going to have to stop the tours altogether.
What?
Stop putting people's lives at risk. And ever since then, they've gone that way and we've gone this way and the conflict's halted.
How bad did it get?
Well, an old mate of mine was running a spectacular tour that sideswiped an original boat because they were on our turf. Both boats were full of passengers and, that wasn't great.
Okay. It's like the bloody Taiwan Strait out there. It's a hotly contested piece of international water.
Again, that one's 2 decades ago.
Again, it's hearsay and it's a long time ago, but it does help paint a picture. This is why I think it's ripe for a peace process, don't you guys? Because now you would assume the people involved in sounds like heads were running pretty hot in the 80s.
Yes. I can't believe this. How excited would you be on that tour where you're in croc-infested waters, you've seen them jumping out of the air and just eating chicken's whole, and now another boat comes and sideswipes you. Whew.
You'd be like, well, at least you'd probably be thinking would the crocs be satisfied with the chicken? Like, are they full?
Are they already full?
Or is that an entree? or have they now got a hunger up? Anyway, it sounds like thankfully everyone stayed inside the boat, but it's swiping. But it sounds like this is we're talking 80s and 90s, and as often happens, it's like how families in towns have issues with each other, and the kids are like, well, we don't know where it's come from, but it's like the grandparents had issues back in the day.
Another part of the audio, and I should stress this because I picked out some of the juicier parts. He said it did have a reputation of being the Wild West back then. He must stress it's nothing like that now, which we all agree. That's
There's
why
no bumpings happened for 40 years.
No, but that's why it needs to be resolved through some kind of peace.
It just sounds like there was a Band-Aid put over an old wound and never got aired out. And I think if we had the right peace team, and I'm looking at us three, travel north, go look, we think we've heard the facts, we've heard the evidence, sit down, we smooth things over, calmer waters, 2 compliments are exchanged, the plaque goes up. I just think peace in the north would make the country happy too.
Are we in a position, do you think, now to reach out to the 2 owners to see if they're interested, or are we just going to go?
Yeah, well, you can't force peace upon people. No. I think you do need buy-in from the parties.
Okay, well, that's our next step then.
Yeah. Well, you don't think so?
I agree. I think we've reached.
Just you sounded disappointed that I was.
No. I was pensive.
Pondering.
Sorry. Yeah, my emotions are running high, and I don't know which one to choose. I was pensive and in total agreement. I feel like our next step is to reach out to them and see if they're interested, and then maybe schedule a bit of a trip up there.
What if we've got to be willing to listen to, there could be something they need, that could be part of, that could be what we're doing here, middlemaning a bit.
Lovely.
Yeah, great.
Hey, we've got to get to this. It's some breaking news during the week, which has shocked the pants off us.
Yeah. This came out in press release form. I doubt many of our listeners would have seen it covered in any of the major mainland newspapers.
I'd say there are more
Tasmanian newspapers for that matter.
Yeah, I would say there's some more pressing issues across our nation than this, but for our show specifically, there probably isn't.
Boy, have we been made aware of this? And Ando, you've got the press release. It relates to the Croc Wars. Now, we're all well across the progression of the story. Original crocodile jumping tours versus spectacular crocodile jumping tours, the show's plan to get up to Darwin, get the owners of both businesses to sit down and go, hey, there's enough river for all of us. Come on, let's have some peace. There's been decades of hijinks and mischief between the two.
Yes.
Let's stop the rivalry. Let's embrace the sheer joy of taking members of the public to see a huge prehistoric reptile jump out of the water to eat chicken. It doesn't matter really whose name's on the side of the boat.
It's exactly how we're feeling.
Well documented on our show. That's what we're pushing forward to. In fact, here's something we can tell listeners. During the week, we all had a conversation. We're like, let's just go. Like, let's book a flight. Let's book a date to go to Darwin.
Yeah.
Like early November, let's just book a weekend.
We can pull this off. Yes. We can't
sort of
break a piece if we're not there.
Sort of backed ourselves to pull it off. And there was, within our camp, I would say, high morale.
Yeah.
Once we book there's always that excitement when you book a trip where you're like, we're doing it. We're booked in. Then this happens, Ando.
Yes, press release from the original Adelaide River Queen Jumping Croc Cruises.
So the original. The original for short.
Yep, the original. It says the original and Pathfinder jumping crocodile cruises will close on the 31st of October 2023 after 38 years of operation on the Adelaide River.
Unbelievable. What are the chances of this? Original croc jumping tours. I
don't think it's a situation where he doesn't want peace. Like he doesn't want us coming up there and brokering this.
No, initially we were like, what's happened?
Hopefully it wasn't us.
Is this someone balking at peace so hard? They're like, no, I'm closing the doors.
No.
It doesn't seem to be the case.
He says, our family business has built a world-class sustainable animal attraction that has carried more than 2 million passengers.
Wow.
It's an Australian icon. It's featured on Aussie Big Things, the TV series.
Jeez, was it on ABT?
Which saw the jumping crocodile feature on the release of a $1 coin by the Royal Australian Mint and on the $1.20 stamp by Australia Post. So it really had its place as an icon. I'll paraphrase, it's a long press release. But
sure. No one likes a longie.
No one likes a longie. But Tony says that there are more and more smaller jumping croc tours getting added to the river, and the NT government are just going willy-nilly with permits, essentially.
So this is the owner of Original. He's saying that now more permits are coming out.
Yeah, he said there's up to
So there's
five.
not two sides left in this skirmish anymore. There could be 7.
There's up to 5 car competitors that operate in the waterway that he says he's developed. They're on smaller boats. He said smaller boats and big crocs don't mix. Yep. They're obviously on bigger boats like Spectacular and them. He's suggesting that the NT, it's unsafe, that the NT government has to change the permitting. He doesn't want to be out there and keeping it and being unsafe for any of the passengers.
So he's walking.
He'd prefer to close it down.
Safety first.
Mm.
So this is he's really doing it. This is not a threat to close. He's like, we're done.
He said, these are the ideas I'm put forward to the Minister of Tourism and Hospitality. He lists things and he said if the NT government, he said he's already listed those things. The NT government has failed us on these matters and does not understand the inherent risks combining small vessels with large crocodiles, not to mention the small vessels do not have capacity to carry a large number of conference or cruise ship passengers, is his statement. Okay. He said that's why he wants to close down.
The 2 big C's, they are important for tourism, cruises, conferences.
Yep.
A lot of cash in that. I don't think this has ever happened before. Not this is about us. This is about a man and his business, which has been running for decades. And, we should say safety first.
Yes.
Welfare of the business second. Then any podcasts interested in peace missions third. Has it ever happened in the history of peace deals, any mediation, where let's say you've got 2 corporations going against each other, where you're just about to get to the table to sort this thing out, and then one goes, nah, we don't want to be a corporation anymore.
Yeah.
We're out anyway. I mean, it's a solution, it's a resolution, I suppose, it's not what we're after with the peace deal.
Are we still going? Are we just taking a holiday?
Well, I mean, we booked it and we got so excited and we were looking at again.
It's it's really the first forced peter out. Usually we're
it is
self in charge of our peter out.
We're for the first time ever, we're the opposite of a peter out, where we're the ones clinging on and someone else has opened the door and Peter's left. We're trying to catch Peter and drag him back into the building.
We were shutting all exits. And Peter somehow slipped out.
Someone dragged the couch against the door. Can't believe of all the things we were of all the other Peter outs that have happened through the year, I was sort of allowing them to happen, knowing that that was what I loved about when we booked the Darwin trip.
Yes.
I was like, you know what?
We're actually going to deliver
the biggest thing we're going to see through, and that won't peter out, which will buy us a bit of cover for any other Peter outs we've forgotten. And now it's the opposite. Now it's like, oh, you thought those Peter outs were something. When do you see the biggest Peter out of all?
I mean, doesn't necessarily mean that we can't.
31st of October, did it say? End of October.
But it doesn't necessarily mean that we can't create peace between the two businesses. It'd be a nice way to close
Well, one doesn't exist.
It does seem like an easy peace deal. Just as he's taking his cardboard box full of stuff to his car. And Tony, do you agree to peace? Yeah, mate, whatever. See ya. Well, we got it. We got peace. Sure, mate, have 100 of them. You beauty. We did it. We did it.
True.
Unbelievable negotiations.
But the way I was thinking of it was more like in those kind of mob films where the two dons from either side, after all the fighting and terror and finally get together and go, they've both since kind of retired.
Anyone. Yep.
They've just come back and gone, hey, I just think we should make peace.
Well, that's what we want. But you don't hear one of the dons isn't like, oh God, mafia. I've done that for ages. Yeah, I run a basketball. I run a basketball clinic now. Yeah, sure, mate. Yeah, take my territory. I don't care. I'm not involved.
That's true.
So it's I get what we want.
Yes.
Maybe is this still a good peace deal?
Yeah.
Where we do go up because we were planning on sort of being there. Unfortunately, the flights are booked for about a week or so, a bit less than a week after he's shuttering the business. I mean, we could talk to him and go, do you reckon you keep it open for 1 more week?
Would you
stay open for a week just because?
Do we make a big booking for like the week after that he can't refuse?
Booking a huge conference and then do a bit of gotcha. It's actually a peace negotiation. Surprise, surprise, peace deal.
So technically he's still open.
Yeah, would you stay open for us? Either that or do we get there and just sort of go, look, who cares that it's a few days after you've closed forever? Would you be interested in, as an ending note, was it nice to end on a note of peace?
That's nice.
And then we can still have a plaque to go, yeah that's nice, isn't it? Just go on this spot. The two disputed rival businesses agreed to a peace, and it was agreed by both parties that had they both still been in business, it would have been peaceful.
It's a little anticlimactic. I'm just thinking of the actual.
We both agree that had the dispute continued, we would have resolved it.
Doesn't have the ring.
A hypothetical peace.
Want to go. All right, we'll have a think about it. We'll have a think about it. Hey, to close out today, we talked about it last week, and we've probably been avoiding talking about it again because we're at a loss, aren't we?
Oh, yeah.
We're at a loss.
No one expected this spanner in the works to be thrown. No one expected this fake chicken to be thrown amongst the crocodiles. Confusing if you're a crocodile and a fake chicken gets thrown in.
Yes.
What is this? This is not what we're used to. For the croc tours, for the croc wars that are happening in the north, that were happening in Darwin, we've been following all year. Original croc jumping tours, spectacular croc jumping tours. As you probably heard on last week's show, to the vast majority of people that are listening in order, out of nowhere and unrelated to us, for their own reasons, the original croc jumping tours has decided to close down. After 38 years of operation, they're shutting on October the 31st. Why is this relevant to us? Well, as you also might have heard, we booked flights to Darwin and we're taking the whole team up. And again, this isn't top priority, but it is a factor. We've booked a sunset jet ski cruise, or we're interested in booking one, and just a bunch of other fun stuff in Darwin we're excited to do. Anyway, that's not the priority. Just mentioning it just because it's a fun thing to think about.
Yes.
Anyway, we were off on a peace mission to bring these two warring companies together. Enough of the silliness. Yeah. That was the main focus. Enough of the silliness. Come on, guys. Yeah. It's been decades of hijinks, but now let's all, wouldn't this be fun? And the peace process was looking good. We're going to sit down and put the feuding aside, look at working together in the future, and hopefully exchange one compliment per side. That now, life doesn't work out the way you plan. No one was expecting Tony to shut down original croc jumping tours entirely because of a dispute he's having with the government and some demands they haven't met.
So it looks
like that's happening.
Leads us to the situation, and we've had to think about it, and we're still going to go up.
Yay.
Jack wants the tour. Jack wants the jet skis.
And what we'll do up there, we don't know. Will we try to? Will we be able to crowbar some kind of peace talks in and claim a triumph? Probably.
It's not a crowbar though, Endo. Look, let me ask you this.
Okay.
if we go, like, just answer yes or no to this.
Sure.
Hamish and Andy and Jack went to Darwin, where for decades there has been a rivalry between two small businesses.
Mm-hmm.
There was hijinks, there was some tricks played on each other,
Yes.
and just a general air of rivalry.
Yes.
So much so that one wouldn't go one side of the bridge, one wouldn't go the other side of the bridge.
Yes.
When Hamish, Andy, and Jack came home, that was all over.
There was never a shenanigan or trick played ever again.
And there was peace.
That's great. That'll be the headline.
And that begins the spin. Because I also think the timing on this couldn't be worse. When are we scheduled to go? Like the weekend of the 4th or something?
Yeah,
November?
the 4th.
So we're scheduled to go that weekend to Darwin. Tony's come out and gone, I'm closing the business 31st. Again, nothing to do with us, but boy, oh boy, the timing couldn't be worse.
It's inconvenient, Tony.
If we had been there a week earlier, like we can't go because we've got stuff on with families and stuff. If we'd have gone a week earlier,
Yes.
we could have got the peace deal.
Yeah, done. And then he could close.
Like absolute buzzer beater.
Yes.
Just to be like, do you agree to peace between the businesses? He'd be like, yeah, mate, I'm closing on Sunday, so I don't care. I'd be like, yeah, but for the next, do you agree
Yes.
for the next 4 days or whatever?
Yeah.
Peace. Yeah, sure. 4 days of peace, no worries.
Let's still try and meet Tony.
Okay, so here's what I'm proposing. Who cares? Like, in the grand scheme of 38 years, what's 4 days?
Yep.
I mean, I still think we get a plaque made up.
Backdate it.
Not a bad idea.
Yeah, that's a good idea. And then you know what it's sort of like.
Jack's straight in with, I like this.
It's like when a great player retires after a grand final. So we can say that we broke a piece, we won, and then Tony retired that same day.
Yes.
So you reckon we backdate it to the 31st?
Yes.
We just get it written on the plaque, like it's all in. It's
That's the thing.
it's
You
in
put
bronze.
Put a few years water under the bridge. No one's going to
Totally
this up.
fine.
And
And even-
once it's plaque,
Why don't we timestamp our chats with him as well? It's like, okay, nice to meet you, Tony, here on the 30th.
time is. So we fly up.
Yeah.
We meet, even though we're meeting on the 4th of November.
Yes.
We essentially reenact
Mm.
because just due to scheduling, we couldn't be there a week earlier.
Yeah.
But we basically go, look, had we been here a week earlier, we'd
Would have
absolutely
been
have
there.
this conversation.
Exactly.
Same conversation.
Yes.
Do you agree if it was a week earlier, you would have peace?
Yep.
Hopefully they were like, yeah, absolutely. If this was 1 week ago, our attitudes would be the same. And you'd both have two open businesses that could make peace.
Yep. Compliment. Photograph. Photograph the crocodile wearing my tooth necklace. Sunset jet ski.
Flying, great. Flying to Darwin to reenact the backdated peace accord whilst the two businesses were still open. Now, how do we put it on the plaque? Do we go on this day, the 31st of October? Or why don't we backdate it exactly a week from
Let's work.
when we're there? So we go on this day, 29th of October, 2023, peace.
How about this? How about this?
Achievable?
How about
well,
this?
that's true. Why don't we do a not lying? Well, we don't go peace was achieved. We just go peace, the concept of peace was.
That sucks.
Okay.
Sorry,
I think I've got it.
It's a
I think I've
brainstorm.
got it.
I'm trying to just avoid getting tangled up in a giant web
think
of
I've got
lies.
Why don't we get a text message to Tony and a text message to Wes saying, yeah, up for peace?
Yep.
On the 31st. If they both write back yes, we can say on the 31st,
Yeah.
it was agreed that
Yeah,
peace.
In fact, we just go on this and we make the plaque. Why don't we do that? A week before we go, we make the plaque that day.
Yes.
So we're obviously making the plaque in Melbourne,
Yes.
but we have to. You don't say that on the plaque.
No.
You just go on this day,
Yeah.
the 28th of October.
Yes.
It was agreed by the two parties that peace would reign between the two businesses for however long the businesses may go.
Yep.
Right?
Love
then
it.
we take the plaque that's made and you plonk it in the spot up there.
Yeah.
And everything's true. You just weren't actually there on the day. You don't need to write on the plaque, due to scheduling conflicts, we couldn't actually be there on the day. No one needs that detail on a plaque.
Yeah, great.
You
Done.
just do the headline.
Yeah.
Yep. So we actually forge the plaque on the weekend before.
Yes.
And we, have them on the line and then just go and reenact the day,
What we would have said at the time.
what we would have said at the time. And I think that's very,
very
honest. I was going to say, I think that's very honest. But I think that's not as dishonest as is possible.
Yeah.
That's still a peace deal.
Absolutely.
That's not a peter out, which is the most important thing.
Hey, we are heading to Darwin next week. Next week's show will be from Darwin as we try to put to bed the Croc wars that have raged for, 40, 50 years.
40, 50 years, Ando. Peace in the north, peace in the north. Hear ye, peace in the north. We come with good wishes for all businesses, all small businesses in the north. And the three of us and the rest of the team, we booked our flights. As we mentioned on last week's show, we booked our flights. We're like, let's do this. Come on, we've been flirting with this all year. Book our flights to Darwin. And then, so just a recap in case anyone's dipping in and out of the episodes. Then it came out that the original Croc jumping tours, in an unrelated maneuver to our activities, before we could bring peace to the region, have decided to cease operations due to a bunch of other logistical factors. Where does this leave the peace process? Don't you need 2 operational sides to have peace? Yeah, but it's so close. You know, we're only missing it by a matter of days. We still think it's still a nice feeling to bring peace, regardless of who's operating what business the next weekend.
We got accused on email of forging forth with this for the want of a fun trip to Darwin. Now, that could not be... what? Yeah, I know.
What? Because of the jet ski tours.
Yeah, exactly. That could not be further from...
Oh, yeah. Here's me with a wife and 2 kids. I'm like, let me, I'm just going to go to Darwin just because we're staying at the casino. You know? That's gross. That's gross. No, you're not the only one crying. I'm crying too because that's a really hurtful thing to say. Oh, boy.
Terrible. And that's what these tears represent.
That's what these tears are for. To hurt. You do this for small business peace and you get accused of it just being trivial.
So anyway.
And no need. More of a need than ever there is. More of a need than ever for this.
And if anyone wants to retract, please write back in or show support. Write in.
Because we want to put a little bit of peace and love into the frothy waters of the Adelaide River, which is up there in the Northern Territory. And that's where these crocodile tours operate. And we will not rest until peace is bought on Saturday afternoon. And then we will not rest because we're staying at the casino. But then we will rest and then we'll go home. You.
Hey,
you for peace.
I've got 2 quick things. 2, because I know we're running out of time today.
Yep. 2 quick things. Got a private room. No.
Triumph for us.
Yep.
The owner for Spectacular has come back to us and said, I'll be there.
Yes. Great.
Where's the owner from Spectacular? I'll be there.
And Spectacular are the ones that's staying as a business.
Yes.
Spectacular is still open. That's right, Jack. And so he'll be there Saturday afternoon for the Peace Summit.
And open to peace talks. So, and agreed that he'll come together and give a compliment to the other fellow. That's Wes.
Tony.
Right?
Okay, Wes is from Spectacular. Tony runs original croc jumping tours. Where's Tone at?
Haven't heard from him.
Haven't heard from Tone. That's why I still think it is worth a press forth.
Yes. But
we will find Tone. It's not a huge place and people know where Tony is.
Some weeks ago, we got a text message from him that said, if you make it up, this is the only correspondence we'd had.
Yeah.
And I love the cut of
I didn't know
Tony's.
you got a text message from Tone.
I was keeping it a secret because I wanted to secure him more. I thought we'd be able to chat to him more. He's then since gone off the grid a bit. I love the cut of this guy's Jim. He seems to be doing whatever he wants, which you and
including shutting down the business last week.
Yeah. He said, if you make it up north, I'll be there. This is a while back. He since now hasn't been in touch with us. So that's
okay. So Tone's around somewhere.
I think he's aware of
this. Is you know what? This is again like if peace was easy, everyone would have done it. Yeah. So we've got to sit down these small businesses. I'm confident if we've got Wes in the pocket, we'll find Tony or some version thereof. Yep. We'll find Tony. We'll get him.
Yep.
We'll either get him to come to the peace talks or we get a statement or whatever. Look, here's the thing, because what I was going to bring up on the weekend, apart from some going out clothes, was we'll talk about that later. Was I a plaque. I wanted to donate the plaque.
We'll put it on the bridge.
We're going to put it on the bridge or like lay it in the ground nearby to be like on, this spot, peace was agreed to between these companies, blah, blah, blah. I'm just spitballing here, but if Tony's there or isn't there, it sort of changes the wording of the plaque. How about this? Why don't I bring 3 to 5 plaques that cover different outcomes? Because it might even be on this spot, peace was proposed, but sadly not achieved.
Yes.
On this spot, peace wasn't proposed.
Don't tell us.
Okay. Do you know what I mean? There's a few different permutations. So maybe I bring 3 to 5 plaques.
And then maybe at the top
we cover all our bases with the plaques. Let's bring them in a little briefcase.
Yep.
And then
we'll
lay the appropriate one.
Whatever happens, you will do it. We'll turn to you and go, which one do you think? And
I'll be there with my file of plaques going, yes, I think I have a plaque for this occasion. I do have one that fits what's happened.
Don't make that a Peter out. I want 5.
No, the plaques will be there. Okay. I will get 3 to 5 plaques. And then I might make why don't I make a small plaque, a sub plaque, a little mini plaque for us to take out that night to go on this spot. Hamish, Andy, and Jack celebrated on this very night after negotiating peace in the north.
Yes.
This is where the after party was, the peace celebration.
You're going to have to make that more generic because if we don't celebrate, it means you're going to need 5 smaller plaques.
Yeah. And then if you're doing every permutation of the smaller plaques, you could be like, and then they won on roulette, or they won on craps, or they won at poker.
I think
Jack's come to play. Jack's planned a big night out.
Yes, I do love the idea of the smaller plaque.
All right, I'll keep the small plaque generic. Just be like, on this spot, Jack, Andy, and Hamish were seen celebrating the events of the peace process.
Yes, that works.
So it just keeps it kind of broad, but we still lay that down.
Yep.
For that night.
Mm-hmm. Perfect.
Great night out when